start to finish with Bring Me the Horizon.
It's the Radio 1 Rock Show.
Well, let's talk about the drop first, because that, I think for most people, the announcement that it was coming out at midnight, you gave people less than a day really to know about it, which I thought was pretty ballsy. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I just didn't want to wait anymore, and it was kind of just a spur of the moment idea. I said to Elijah, I think we should just drop it as soon as possible, and I think we should just not tell anyone and just put it out. I think with everything that's happened, I think we should just give it, and you know what I mean, and just stop doing the kind of the boring corporate label thing and just put it out. And managed to get management and label excited enough to agree to it, and yeah.
Amazing. Because I remember when we were talking at Download, maybe last year, and we started talking a little bit about the whole idea about the PostHuman, like the arc of the EPs, and you know, the first one that came out, and that wasn't even an EP, that was like pretty much an album as far as most people were concerned, right? And then you have like 5 or 6 singles out from this one already, so now we've got 16 tracks with interludes as well, so this is like a full album as well. How far forward have you thought things out? Because there's moments where it feels so seamless between songs that have existed for a long time and been out for a minute, going into these songs which for us are brand new.
I mean, the ideas were always there. Like the trailer for the album, I conceived that years ago, but how it was actually executed was different, you know what I mean? Like the songs that preceded it and everything. So like the record kind of like, it plays out on like 3 different levels. It plays out on like a level of like what it means to me personally, and then what it means to like on a society level, but then also what does it mean in context of this story and this narrative and this world that we've built.
Yeah.
It's probably thought out in a story concept way more than anything else, because everything else is very reactive to things that happen into my life or where I'm at personally or what's going on in the world and stuff like that. These records are always meant to be very reactive to what's going on in the world, and it does have an effect on the story as a whole, but where it's going and where I imagine it going is thought out, if it makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, YOUtopia, the opening song, the lyric like, there's a place I want to take you but I'm not quite there myself yet, that speaks about the realization that there's more to reality in the physical. That comes up in the pre-chorus where if I butcher these lyrics, I apologize, but yeah, it's like the bit where it says there's a home somewhere beyond my bones and I'm too terrified to dive inside, and it about the idea that the numinous, without using a specific word, exists within all of us, and it's like, yeah, we're all constantly trying to find that, but also like it touches on the idea about acting out a role within kind of consensus reality, and that can be a really false one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean the opening line is basically a summary of the entire record of like, maybe like 2 years ago I was imagining that this would be, I'd have it more together in terms of like what I was going to teach you, but the reality is like I'm still nowhere near where I'd like to be. Do you know what I mean? I'm still like everyone else. I've still got a lot of issues and stuff, but then going further, it's like, again, summarizing that like contentness and spirituality and everything it's so much more profound than like the thing that we're all chasing right now. The kind of happiness that we're seeking for is so skin deep, and there's so many things that I could do in my life and deprogram myself and unwire that would make me instantly happier, that I continuously don't do. I choose the other path because it's more instantly gratifying, or it's easier to get like a synthetic buzz out of it or whatever. Yeah, it's something that we're all aware with on this numb level, but we don't talk about because you just like, shut up, I don't want to think about that.
Which shows you that growth from you as a teenager to now, because it's like the throwing the line back to that time and seeing that growth. So yeah,
the stop pushing daisies line, and just the whole thing is like the, say, Golden Raspberry, which is obviously like the anti-awards in Hollywood. The whole idea is like, stop kidding yourself that this is the life you want. Do you know what I mean? You're looking for flowers, you're looking for gratification, But what good is that if you're already dead? If you're doing something that's just soulless, do you know what I mean? And I think that's in a world where we get a buzz off a little red heart being pressed. Like, what is our idea now of like a goal that we want to attain? It's such a bizarre goal that we've set ourselves that we think we want. And I think it's just about asking ourselves, is that going to make us happy? Of where we're going and what we're trying to achieve? Are they things that are truly ever going to make us happy? Because I know for a fact the things that I've chased and I'm realizing now, they don't make me happy whatsoever.
Let's go through to a next song, which what I wanted to talk about, which was Limousine, because the different levels to this one, it carries on from what you were just saying, because it could be seen as being like, I don't know, like a bad trip or like a bad pharmacological experience, but it could also be the idea that playing along with consensus reality and no one wants to you know, to use a film reference within the Matrix, it's like the people that don't want to wake up because they're comfortable within that because everything's easier.
100%, that's exactly what it's about. It's like the duality to that song. It is the other side of the coin of like, it's a song all about just going, you know what, I'm just going to take the quick buzz. I'm not going to go down the long hard path of self-love and like working on myself and figuring out what makes me happy. I'm just going to have the e-vape, the quick likes, and it's just going. I choose overstimulation because I know the other way is going to be more difficult.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It is taking that other path, going, I just want to get the easiest, quickest, fastest way to feel something. It's something that I've struggled with my whole entire life, having ADHD and having my kind of pleasure receptors, like they're very dull and they're very numb. So it's a constant battle for me every day not to just go for that, not to just go for it sounds like small, but even just like not just wake up and just go, I just want sugar just to get through the day. I just want anything that makes me like, just gives me a little buzz in my brain, like, and obviously then it goes, you know, to drugs and everything else. It's a constant battle for me to go, not to go down that route. But when I do go down that route, by the end of the day, I'm not happy. Do you know what I mean? I'm low on myself, I'm down on myself, and it's like, it's a lot harder for me to make the right decisions in life. But when I do, I'm just such a better person. I just feel so much better, do you know what I mean? And it's like, even, I think a lot of us don't even think we're worthy of it. Do you know, worthy of having something good. I think a lot of us, even in terms of relationships and love, think, oh, this is what love is. Love's not perfect. Love is sometimes being in a relationship you're not completely happy with, or, you know, on every level. Sometimes I'm around people and go, you deserve better than this. I think it's a very relatable and a very universal problem, to be honest.
Without being that guy too much, I'm a massive Deftones fan, and I can see that there's a bit of that in there for sure. But Aurora's on that song, so tell me a bit about Aurora, because once you've done that, I am going to bring up the thing about Billy.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking for guests. Aurora was one of my first choices, and I messaged her the song on Instagram, kind of thinking like, I knew that she'd told me before that she liked the band, and I knew or had an inkling that she was into like the heavier kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I also thought, she's not probably going to go for this. This is properly heavy in terms of like, she's never done anything even remotely like this, do you know what I mean? So kind of thinking it's a long shot, but it would be cool. And I really wanted like a vocalist like her, like someone really ethereal and dreamy that could bring something to the song that wasn't there already. But she just didn't reply. She just didn't reply to me, and I'm like, okay. So we started looking for other people. We actually found someone else and agreed to do it, and I hope we haven't burnt that bridge with them, because it was a real tough decision. But literally the same night this artist had confirmed to do it, Aurora sends me like 20 messages on Instagram in caps locks going, oh my God, I love this, I am in love with this. 1,000 times yes, we're doing it. And I didn't even know yet that the other artist had confirmed, but I'm hoping we get to do something with them in the future, because it's a really cool one as well. The Billy thing was just, her photographer's a massive fan, and they kind of mentioned the idea of her doing a song. So I sent a Limousine, and this was quite a while before it was in its full finished state. I mean, I can't tell you for 100% that she listened to it, but I knew it got to her.
Yeah.
So me not thinking Limousine would mean anything to anyone but me and maybe her if she saw the comment, left it on her Instagram, not thinking that like we'd obviously get like in a week or two later when we did the tour, we'd put the file names on our visuals live. Everyone connected it, and so like, one of them things like, oh, it seems like such a proper cheap way to try and get some press, but it really wasn't. I was actually quite embarrassed when I found out. I go, oh God, no, because I knew like the chances of Billy doing a song with us was slim to none.
Let's talk about one of the interludes really quick, and it's obvious that I'm going to ask you about this one, as I'm sure you'll understand, is about OST Spiritual, because it's the LBRP, isn't it? It's the Lesser Banishing Ritual, the pentagram, that is the
6-thread star.
Yeah, essentially it's something that people do to sort of get rid of bad energy and move forwards further into something. And I think that as that falls at the perfect middle point, isn't it? It's like track 8, right, out of 16, so it's right in the middle.
Yeah, there's like multi-levels to it. Like, I think it's the first time we ever spoke about why we have a hexagram as our logo. And then on the level of basically this ritual is something that in the world of this album is like people have learned to practice to invoke utopia, and I mean, again, like, I don't want to give too much away, but like a link to the pineal gland and stuff like that. And this is meant to, like you say, clear and open those pathways.
Yeah.
Even for the listener, I really like the idea that they are participating on some extent in a spell that's a really positive thing. I think for me, I personally believe things like that are really powerful. I always thought that about the Flower of Life. And when we did Sempiternal, it's like,
yeah,
always believed that like it's this nice little thing we can have on a medium that seems so one-dimensional. It's another string to the bow of like, no, this is actually casting something to the world, and it is good. Do you know what I mean? Whether or not we present it in a way that it feels a bit dark and shadowy, but again, that's kind of the whole reasoning behind this world of this thing. It's like, if you want to understand it, you need to go and look deeper.
That the song lives within all starts glitching, almost like the spell's sort of broken.
Yeah, the song is about basically like the kind of battle between the duality of the good and evil. That kind of, I feel like the album's constantly battling and trying to push for a good place. I guess the last song is kind of like, on some levels, is me losing that battle, and what happens when I do lose that battle, and what it feels like to lose that battle, and trying to like illustrate that sonically as much as possible. Again, it also sets up the next record for the story, and the lyrics themselves are meant to, like, for me, be a kind of like a note to someone explaining like why I'm not there anymore, and kind of talking about my failures and how I feel to have lost out to, I guess, the darkness and the frustration and resentment of like how a lot of times it don't feel like anyone wants to get better, and no one wants to talk about it or do anything about it, and it's a really, sometimes I think, a really kind of isolating and lonely feeling when it feels like no one wants to take that step with you, and sometimes it feels like, makes you feel like, well, why should I bother? So yeah, it's definitely meant to like sonically represent that feeling of just like, I guess, like the floodgates opening. Yeah.
And then there's, I think it is, because I tried to count it off in my head, but it feels like there's 93 seconds of silence. And then there's Mate that tells you about 132 files and one audio log, which is 133. So a minute and 33 seconds, right, is 60 seconds, and 33 seconds, that's 93.
I mean, I pulled that number out my arse, like...
Shut up.
The gap one was intentional, but that's like the universe's little way of letting me know I'm onto something, you know? Pins and needles in my face,